baby girl. Welcome to another episode of Dirty, Dusty Records. This is going to be another shortened coronavirus edition. And because we did hair last time with the coronavirus, we're going to do hair again. Galt MacDermot, he made amazing music about 50 years. The hair soundtrack itself, it's iconic. It was a standard of music in the mid to late 60s, and it created a mini cottage industry into itself. There are so many versions of the hair soundtrack, from individual artists who wanted to do their own rendition of it, to exploito companies that just wanted to cash in on it, to pressings from all different nations of the world. And so we did a volume 1 last time covering 4. We're going to do a volume 2 this time covering an additional 4. And let's begin. First album up is Galt MacDermot with his own version, again, called Hair Pieces. This version of the soundtrack was done on the Verve Forecast label. Verve Forecast did a lot of folk, hippie-ish stuff. They did stuff like the Wendy and Bonnie album. On this one, you have Galt MacDermot doing a bunch of songs from the Hair soundtrack, but he's at the helm, and he's on a Fender Rhodes piano, which was one of my favorite instruments of all time. He's got some of the better musicians he could find to come along on this, including Bernard Purdie on drums, Jimmy Lewis on bass. He's got a sitar player. Rick Shorter was the executive producer for this. He produced the whole album. He also did electronic sound, so you could see they were trying to get all iffy and weirdy out there. Strong album, strong take, dumb cover. I love the dumb cover. Next album I'm reviewing is Hair by Lady Sappho and the Satyricons. This version is on the Stanion label. Stanion is one of those labels that's known for doing a lot of kind of loungy, cheesy-ish, Mantovani-ish kind of stuff. Rod McEwen did a lot with this label. This version of the Hair soundtrack is pretty much a total mystery. On the back, there's no real clue as to who these people are. It's produced by someone named Walla Walla Ginsburg. The sound effects are credited to God. So there's not a lot of information as to who's a part of it. But the music on it itself is very nightclub jazzy. It's very like guys sitting at the piano with a cigarette, half smoked in the ashtray, and the smoke is lingering out into the midnight hours. It's nighttime. The right time. Next album up is Electronic Hair Pieces by the artist Mort Garson. Mort Garson was a Los Angeles-based electronic music artist. I believe he's originally actually from Canada, made his way down to LA, did a bunch of music on 60s projects for other people, and then by the late 60s, took his Moog and started doing music for himself. And he did a lot of odd projects. People are going pretty wild the last couple of years for his Plantasia project, which was music he created to help plants grow. It's a silly but cute album and actually sounds really great. This was his version of songs from the Hair soundtrack, done completely on the Moog, whichever way you want to pronounce it. It's done on one of those. The cover itself is fantastic with what looks like a bald mannequin lady and a bunch of wires sticking out of her head. It's a very quirky album. A lot of standards from the album just done on that space Moog sound that you get with Moogs. This album is the Israeli cast version of Hair, otherwise known as Sha'ir. Sha'ir is Hebrew for hair. On the back of this album, you'll see pictures of Galt MacDermot and the other two people, the songwriters, along with members of the cast. It's written in Hebrew as well as in English. It was recorded late 60s, but it has a sound that sounds almost post-punky in parts. There's a fantastic version of Walking in Space in here, and there are some really out there, just kind of like almost punk rock versions of songs like Colored Spade. I know some Hebrew, so I can hear some things on here. It's not entirely word for word matching the English thing, but that was one of the fun things about the Hair soundtrack, is it was made in so many countries with so many variations and so many sounds that are more native to the place rather than the Broadway original, and it's highly enjoyable. And being that it's Israeli and has a little bit of Hebrew on it, Ani ohev meod. In Hebrew, that means I like it a lot. That's all for this Corona version of Hair Volume 2. I hope you guys appreciate it. Please subscribe. Please talk to me on Instagram. Please check out my other accounts. Please give me more suggestions for future episodes. I'm at home with plenty of nothing to take up my time. So if you want to fill that time up by giving me suggestions, I will gladly make episodes on it. Thank you. Goodbye. Next album, ooh, that was bad.